Title of the novel: The Thousand Hues of the Ganges, a collection of folk tales. Title of Volume 1, North India, The Sacred River. Chapter title: Chapter 10, The Bayan Melody, the Sanskrit Chants on the Street. Metcalfe Street in Delhi shimmers in the midday heat. As soon as Aaliya turns the corner, she is halted by a broken yet persistent melody. It's the characteristic tremor of the Bayan, at least 3 of its 19 strings broken, yet it grinds away the heat like the sand of the Ganges. In front of a print shop, on the verge of demolition, sits an old man in a gray cloth shirt with a Bayan whose body is cracked resting on his lap. In the enamel bowl by his feet lie a few coins, and on the strings are tied faded Ganges stones, each polished to a warm patina. A quarreling tongue will be smoothed by the sand of the Ganges, the old man says without looking up, his fingertips creating rippling trills on the strings. Only then does Aaliya notice that the 2 vegetable vendors who were arguing over the space for their stalls 5 meters away are now staring blankly at the ground, as if the anger has been drawn out of them by the melody. Even more amazingly, the stray dog huddled in the corner slowly gets up and places its head on the old man's tattered cloth shoes. "I'm Mohan." The old man finally looks up, his left eye covered with a milky film. "This Bayan was carried all the way from Lahore to Delhi by my grandfather during the Partition in 1947. The British blew up the minarets of the mosque, but they couldn't break the holy songs on the strings." His fingers caressed the blurred carvings on the body of the instrument. Aaliya recognizes the patterns of the 10 avatars of Vishnu, and in the tortoise shell pattern of the tortoise avatar, there is still half a crystal condensed from Ganges sand embedded. Aaliya's phone suddenly vibrates. She receives a message from Leela. Commercial TV stations have adapted Kathak dance into electronic dance music, and the Bayan accompaniment is just a strong rhythm. She closes the video, and the shaking metal strings on the screen form a stark contrast to the old man's broken instrument. Now, on the streets and alleys, there are internet celebrities in crop tops spinning to electronic remixes everywhere. The silver bells on their ankles are merely for decoration, and the syllables of the Ramayana can hardly be heard anymore. They say the old tunes are like rusty railway tracks. Mohan suddenly smiles bitterly, his fingertips gliding out a series of rapid notes. In front of Aaliya's eyes, the news images of the demolition of the Babri Mosque in 1992 seem to emerge, but then the melody changes, and the image turns into countless clay lamps floating towards the Ganges, carrying the prayers of the believers. "This Bayan can see where the sounds have been." The old man knocks on the cracked sound box. During the Sikh riots in 1984, it played the Bhagavad Gita in a pool of blood, making those who were about to raise their knives remember their mother's prayers. Aaliya follows Mohan into the abandoned Shiva temple. On the walls covered with pigeon droppings and the faded mural of the Natya Shastra, the silver bells on the ankles of the dancers correspond one by one to the Ganges stones on Mohan's Bayan. Among the cobwebs behind the shrine, she touches half a scroll of the Bayan score. The ink marks on the parchment actually flow with the melody, revealing the string position markings of the Shiva Requiem, the brainwave resonance tune that has been lost even in the textbooks of music conservatories. Modern speakers are like tin cans. Mohan wraps a cloth around the broken string. They don't know that the vibration frequency of each string corresponds to the chakras of the human body. He suddenly presses Aaliya's wrist and brings the sound box close to her chest. "Your throat chakra is tight. Are you worried about the future of traditional dance?" As the melody gradually softens, the scene that Leela saw in the blue mountain town appears in front of Aaliya's eyes. To cater to tourists, young dancers have reduced the 108 silver bells of the Kathak dance to 12, and the wind brought up by their spins no longer has the weight of an epic. 3 days later, on the lawn of the Taj Mahal, 108 musicians surround in a circle, holding restored Bayans. Mohan's soundbox has been mended with Ganges mud, and a trident pattern of Shiva has naturally formed at the cracked part. When the first resounds, the marble pillars of the Taj Mahal resonate with a humming sound. Moonlight flows on the body of the instrument, and visible sound waves emerge at the broken string parts. It's the peace mantra that millions of refugees hummed together by the Ganges during the partition in 1947. Shirin stands on the side of the stage, unconsciously rubbing her phone with her fingertips. As an electronic musician with millions of followers, her adapted Bayan electronic rhapsody is going viral on short video platforms. But at this moment, watching the calloused fingers of the old musicians fluttering on the strings, she suddenly remembers her grandmother's mumbles before her death. Those Sanskrit chants that she regarded as feudal superstition are actually like the Ganges stones on Mohan's Bayan, saturated with the salt of time. Karma is not digital traffic. Mohan stands behind her at some point, the Ganges stone on the string touching her wrist. You have your grandmother's dying recording in your phone, but you've never listened to it to the end. Shirin looks up abruptly. The old man's cloudy left eye seems to reflect her memory. When she was 8 years old, during the Diwali festival, her grandmother arranged clay lamps in the footprint of Rama, saying that each lamp was a seed of light passed down by their ancestors. The music suddenly rises in pitch, and the 19 strings tremble simultaneously. A huge shadow is cast on the dome of the Taj Mahal, and the miniature reliefs of the Bhagavad Gita seem to flow along the marble patterns. Shirin's electronic synthesizer suddenly emits static, and the spectrum analysis graph on the screen twists into a mess of garbled codes. However, from the cracks of Mohan's soundbox, golden ripples slowly overflow, quietly connecting with the light track of the Milky Way. Look, Mohan points to the lawn. The internet celebrities who were live streaming the history of the decline of traditional musical instruments a few hours ago are now kneeling on the ground, unconsciously drawing the lotus hand, prints of the Kathak dance with their fingertips. The photo editing software in their phones automatically shuts down, and the cameras truly capture the glow of the auspicious marks that appear on the musicians' foreheads due to resonance. Shirin's phone gets hot in her palm, and her grandmother's recording suddenly starts playing automatically. It was in 1942 during the Quit India movement. Her young grandmother played the chapter of courage on the Bayan for the injured independence fighters at the Aaliya in Kolkata. In the recording, amidst the resonance noise of the soundbox, the footsteps of the British military boots can clearly be heard, yet they are covered by even more determined string sounds, just like Mohan's melody at this moment. In the noise of the electronic age, it weaves an invisible net again, synchronizing everyone's breath with the ebb and flow of the Ganges. When the last note melts into the moonlight, Shirin realizes that she has been in tears for a long time. She touches the silver bracelet on her wrist, the only relic left by her grandmother. At this moment, it's getting hot against Mohan's Ganges stone. It turns out that it's not the bracelet that's getting hot, but the memory hidden in her genes has finally heard the Sanskrit chant of returning home. Come to Varanasi tomorrow. Mohan packs up the soundbox, and the Ganges stones jingle softly against his ankles. During the Ganges night arati, each lamp is a note. When thousands of lamps flow downstream, you will see. He suddenly smiles, and the film over his eyes seems transparent in the moonlight. You will see how all the holy songs that have been adapted into electronic dance music regain their original tremors in the river water. Aaliya looks at the old man's departing back. The carving of Vishnu's Dharma wheel on the soundbox is shining in harmony with the stars and moon on the dome of the Taj Mahal. Kijun squats down and caresses the remaining sound wave patterns on the lawn. She suddenly remembers what Mohan said. True music is not the vibration of the eardrum, but the poem written by the soul on the sand of the Ganges. In the distance, the neon lights of Delhi are still twinkling. But in the marble corridors of the Taj Mahal, the lingering charm of the 108 Bayans is still flowing. They pass through the exclamations of tourists, through the posters of commercial performances, through the wrinkles of time, and finally merge into the night of the Ganges, where every wave is a note, every grain of sand is a holy chant, and the ancient strings are always waiting for those who know how to listen, allowing the myths to resound again in the hustle of modern times. This episode ends, but the story continues. Subscribe now